Yeah, hello everyone. Today we have Dr. Nandini Das with us, and she's the acting deputy director of Australia Pacific Office, and she's the climate and energy economist. She has 10 years of experience in energy transition, energy security, and energy efficiency topics, and this complete interdisciplinary framework. She has done some pioneer work on climate change research, and today we'll be having a discussion with her on this topic only. So, welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Aishi. It's nice to talk to you and with other people about these burning issues, the climate change and its impact, and how we can get away from this crisis together.
Ma'am, could you please tell how did you get on this particular energy transition thing, and how did you choose this particular field of research?
So I was studying economics, and during masters, I was more inclined to study the finance. Like usually the people from economics background, they do have a fascination to studying financial economics and all. But then during my MPhil, I thought that maybe, I mean, I started to do, I started enroll for MPhil with an expectation that I would get more training on the financial economics. So when I was studying MPhil, that time we had to take 2 elective courses, but I was not left other than environmental economics and energy economics to choose as an elective subject. So yeah, and then those 2 subjects completely, I mean, changed my mind that no more finance. There are other exciting things to work on, and yeah, since then I'm.
And you must have realized that they are the demand of the future also.
Yes, and also like at that time, like around 15 years back, these things were still at the exploratory stage, that linking the energy economics with the climate change and other things. So yes, that was very exciting in a way. Definitely, there was a huge scope, and but also like very much related to the need of the time. Yeah.
That's it. Yes, ma'am. And since we are also dealing with the like climate change is issue, all the things are connected with it. So energy transition is playing an important role in combating climate change. And then we also look at the other sources. Why not fossil fuels? Why renewable energy? Why shift? We have so many social, economical aspects. And then energy is very important. If we have to deal with climate change, how to regulate the generation of energy, we do write articles on that, we do research, and experts like you help us understand more on this topic. So that's what I want to start with. That what role does energy transition play in combating climate change? According to you?
Yeah, sure. So energy sector is kind of the key sector in which has contributed in the crisis of climate change. So fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas, these are the largest contributor of global climate change crisis, which accounted for around 75% of total greenhouse gas emission so far. And nearly 90% of all carbon dioxide emissions is coming from the fossil fuel burning. So yes, that's why the transition of the energy sector, it is pivotal in achieving the global goal of decarbonization. And also like in 2015, during a very important UNFCCC agreement, the world leaders, they agreed on limiting the global temperature rise up to 1.5 degrees centigrade by the end of the century. So to achieve that goal, I mean, this 1.5 degrees centigrade is very important to keep all our ecosystem, I would not say intact, because we have already lost a significant part of our biodiversity and ecosystem already because of the impact of climate change. But yes, still it is important for the survival of the human being and other species and also the ecosystem. And in the recent report of IPCC, which was released last year, it has been mentioned that, which actually synthesized all the studies which has been done so far on this topic, that global greenhouse gas emissions should start to decline from 2025. So you can imagine from next year, it should start to decline. But yes, it is not like that all the countries should have like similar timeline, because different countries have their different challenges, socioeconomic constraints and other things. So definitely different countries would have their different timeline, and developed and advanced countries will need to make greater contributions and have to take more responsibilities. But yes, globally, we together, it is important that we should meet these sort of timelines, and to ensure the survival of the human race, and also the other species and animals, ecosystem, biodiversity, everything together. So yes, transformation of energy system is very, very important for the survival of this planet.
That's fine. And ma'am, you talked about that every country has its own challenges. They are not all on the same page. So, ma'am, if we talk about some common challenges or some particular challenges, what are the main challenges according to you which are associated with transitioning to a cleaner energy? Why are we not shifting to a cleaner energy? What are the
Yeah.
challenges you face?
So one of the main challenge is that that energy transition would require installation of solar panels, wind turbines. So that would require some upfront investment. So definitely finance is one of the main challenge, particularly for the developing countries. They have other thousands of pressing socioeconomic challenges they are currently dealing with. So if you go to those countries and say that, okay, now you have to transform their energy sector altogether, it would be difficult for them to achieve that. So yes, developing countries need financial support to achieve this energy transition. Also, one of the main challenge of energy transition is that to ensure a stable and reliable energy supply at an affordable price. Now, renewable energy sources like solar and wind depends a lot on the weather condition. So it is very crucial that to have a stable and reliable electricity supply, we should have some effective storage solution. By storage, I mean that battery in some form or the other. So when there will be not adequate generation from the solar and wind, so that we have that backup system to support the supply at that time. So this is definitely a technological challenge. And also renewable energy requires a stable grid, so which requires a upgrade of power transmission grid altogether. So definitely it requires a very meticulous planning of the power system, which is definitely a policy challenge, but at the same time, it would require finance and investment demand also. So it is like a financial requirement is there, and there is also a technical challenge of upgrading the transmission grid, particularly for the developing countries. There are some market barriers in many countries which actually protect the fossil fuel industry with some subsidy and some market protection. So it is difficult for renewable energy to compete with the fossil fuel in terms of price. So definitely market barrier or subsidy for the fossil fuel. Another challenge to increase the share of renewable energy. And like beyond this financial and technical challenge, there is some inconsistent policy and regulation that sometimes create uncertainty for the investors. So yes, definitely stable policies are needed to incentivize this investment in renewable energy. And as you have already mentioned, it is a very layered problem. So for example, like shifting to a fossil fuel based energy system to a renewable energy renewable energy-based power system would maybe lead to a job loss. So that would require proper planning so that the people who they are losing their job from the fossil fuel industry so that they can get proper alternative employment sources. That may require some training, some upskilling of the worker. So all these are like part of the challenges which sometimes resist the countries to take this leap or like progress in faster as needed. But yes, a coordinated effort involving government, business, communities, and individuals can support the overcome these barriers and accelerate the transition of clean energy future.
Yeah. And then if we have like when people and countries they have option of staying to non-renewable sources and transitioning to this, looking at these challenges, they sometimes try to avoid it because of these many reasons.
Yes.
That's why.
Yes.
Yeah. But ma'am, like in the future, if we do not make progress to this transition, what are the potential consequences we'll face if we won't prioritize switching to clean energy sources?
So very simplistically, I can say that if you continue to rely on fossil fuel, that would lead to higher greenhouse gas emission. That would again increase the impact of climate change. So by impact of climate change, I mean that more frequent and severe extreme weather events such as flooding, drought, cyclones. And there are some slow onset events also, such as rising of the sea level. I mean, these could create disruption in the ecosystem, agriculture, human life, and the economic cost of climate change impact, including the damage of infrastructure, agriculture, public health, is substantial. Like it's enormous cost. And a recent paper, for example, has calculated that globally, the economic cost of climate change in case of inaction would be around more than 30 trillion US dollar per year by 2050. So it is a huge amount. And one of the issues is that the vulnerable population, such as like low income communities, marginalized groups, they're always disproportionately affected by the impact of these extreme events because they don't have the resources to deal with this. For example, like if you are living in a hut or like a mud house, or it's not like a concrete building, then your house may be completely washed away in the flooding. But if someone who has like a two-storied building, if it's flooding, then that person can shift to the first floor or the second floor. So this is like, you can always see the vulnerable population are always like low-income communities or marginalized group. They're always disproportionately affected by the impact of climate change, and failure to prioritize this energy transition would definitely further deepen the social inequities, and that would lead to the environmental justice issues. Definitely dependence on these fossil fuel, it has some other risk also, but overall, these are the major impact which would continue and depends further if we don't take prompt action immediately.
Yeah, ma'am, we on one side we see that installing renewable energy sources, they take some like capital investment is required. A lot of cost is required in the starting. But you talked about economic benefits of investing in this is huge. Uh, because there are economic benefits. If we switch to renewable energy, you just told us a very big number also. So can you please tell us what are some economic benefits of investing in renewable energy?
Yeah, sure. So renewable energy comes with multiple economic benefits, not one or two, multiple. So first thing is that I would go with the energy security. So for most of the countries in the world, they depend on imported sources for fossil fuel energy. And if you see, most of these fossil fuel reserves are located in a politically unstable region. So if anything would happen, that would risk your energy security. So recently, we experienced the world experienced during that Russian invasion in Ukraine, and then this Israel-Gaza conflict. There was a huge volatility in the global energy market that has actually created the global gas price, coal price, impacted significantly, and that had resulted for the developing countries a huge affordability issue. Many countries, they're struggling with the energy security issue. If we look at Bangladesh, Pakistan, where they import almost like 180-90% of their energy sources, and these countries are actually struggling to provide a stable energy supply to its economy. So transitioning to renewable energy sources definitely can enhance energy security and dependence on the imported fossil fuel. Second economic benefit, I would say, the affordability. So renewable energy technologies are continuing to advance and scaling up, and their costs are steadily declining. So, and it has been proved again and again that without any market protection, renewable energy can easily compete with the fossil fuel industry, and it is definitely cheaper than the coal or gas-based power. And if you invest further in renewable energy technology, it would further lead to advancement of the technology, and that would help in cost reduction.
Yeah.
And as I've already told you about the employment, so there is a chance that with energy transition, people will lose their job who are working in the fossil fuel industry. But there is enormous opportunity of creating employment in the renewable energy industry also. So, for example, renewable energy installation, manufacturing of the renewable energy equipments. So these are all will create further employment. For example, like in 2022, globally, around 14 million jobs has been created in renewable energy sector, and out of that, 2/3 jobs has been created in Asia. So I mean, this is really like one of the economic opportunity for this because it has related to some investment, and like it is building a new industry altogether. So it will definitely lead to some economic potential of the country. So I mean, I can talk for hours like on the benefits of the renewable energy transition. So yes, there are some risks in transitioning towards this, but with proper planning and with reaping all these benefits together, I think all the countries, the governments can prioritize this renewable energy installation in their country.
And you've highlighted a very important point that steadily the cost of installing and switching to renewable energy is decreasing. Whatever cost was there 10 years ago is not the same, and in the coming 10 years, it will reduce more. So it's a good sign to transition to that. Yeah. So, ma'am, how can transitioning to a cleaner energy source help in improving public health?
Well, I mean, so when you are burning a fossil fuel, it would definitely generate the greenhouse gas, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it would generate particulate matter, like the fine dust, like in a very general terms, and nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide. So these are the very important contributor of poor air quality, which lead to the respiratory diseases, cardiovascular problem, and other complications. So transitioning to cleaner energy sources would definitely reduce not only the emission of the greenhouse gases, but other pollutants which actually is a cause of the poor air quality and impact on human health. So yes, it has definitely has a improved public health, and also as like cleaner energy source would lead to reduced impact of climate change, and that may also some indirect effect on the public health also. So yes, there is a huge public health benefits if we start to switch away from fossil fuel
Um,
combustion.
what role will government and businesses play, like uh, in investing renewable energy or to support this thing? Are
So
these
one thing is
organizations
that,
important? Yeah.
yeah, one thing is that, as I have already expressed, that there are several benefits of renewable energy transition. Now, to prioritize renewable energy, government and businesses can take all the benefits in their favor. This is one thing. And the second thing is that, which I again mentioned, is that transition towards renewable energy always comes with a very high upfront cost.
Yeah.
And it requires meticulous planning. And to implement that planning, it would involve multiple stakeholders. So without policy and financial support from the government, it is not possible to achieve this. I mean, on the practical sense. I mean, theoretically, you can talk about many things, but when on the ground, you have to implement something involving various stakeholders, it is not possible without government intervention. Not only intervention, but like very continuous policy support. And also, renewable energy still, as I've again mentioned, that there are some technical challenge which would require in renewable energy scaling up. So it would require further research and development so that those technical challenges can be overcome. So by supporting research development, government and businesses can drive innovation, accelerate technological progress, and maintain competitive energy market. So investing in renewable energy or providing policy support towards renewable energy can stimulate economic growth, create employment opportunities. And yes, I mean, it could be not only for the national economy, it has some local impact also. So yes, it is very important that government and business should provide their support and should play a very active role
Yeah.
in this transition.
Ma'am, you talked about research and development. Exactly. If some funds are allotted to in this sector, it would be fruitful in the long run only, to have some good advancement in research in this sector. Very
Yes.
important.
Yes. For
And
example, like cost of solar energy has declined significantly in past few
mm,
years. So one of the reasons is that the solar panel and cost of manufacturing solar panel and solar module has declined significantly. So one of the reason of this decline is that there has been a significant research and development has taken place. And also there is a scale in production. So now the solar panel and solar module produced at a very large scale, and which reduce the cost. So on the one side, you can see that how research and development can play a role in improving efficiency of the technology, thereby reducing cost. And the other hand, you can see how the businesses can play a role to increase the scale of production and thereby reducing the per unit cost of these equipments.
yeah, and if governments they realizes the very important point you also discussed with us is energy independence of these countries. Still, again, that's again a benefit for them.
Yeah, energy security is the most important benefit a country can get from energy transition, particularly those countries which are actually struggling with its import. I mean, paying the import bill of energy. And those, like, for example, if some country is paying maybe 10%, 20%, 20%, 30% of its GDP while importing the energy. If they would transition, they would switch to renewable energy, that same amount of GDP can be transferred to the others to meet the other socioeconomic challenges.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah. Ma'am, could you give us examples of countries or some regions which have made significant progress in transitioning to renewable energy?
Yes. So far, some of the countries in the world, they have progressed really well in terms of energy transition, where they have almost 100%. They have removed the fossil fuel from their energy system. One such country is definitely Germany, um, uh, Portugal, Denmark, Sweden. So these are some developed European country. They
Okay.
have kind of progressed well. But if you look at the Asia, I think India and China has made significant progress in renewable energy installation. So even with their developing country challenges, the socioeconomic constraints and other things, renewable energy installation has progressed significantly. But China and India is still building their coal capacity. I would say these two things cannot go together. So if you are deciding to move towards renewable energy, it is important that you should stop building fossil fuel energy infrastructure also. And one thing I would say that if we say that by energy transition, if we say that it's only just fossil fuel to renewable energy, it is the half of the story. So when we say energy transition, the other part is that electrification of the end-use sectors. By end-use sectors, I mean industry, transport sector, buildings, households. So by electrification of the industrial setup, electrification of the transport system. So through renewable energy, you would clean your power system, and that clean power will flow into the end-use sectors. If you have, like, for example, if your cooking is through electricity, and if your electricity is being supplied through renewable energy, you can see the whole chain is now clean. So only installing renewable energy will not help, but at the same time, the electrification of the end-use sector is also equally important.
Yeah, so that's you made us show the complete picture, not the sectoral thing, which we usually focus on. Yeah,
Yeah, so these all things should move simultaneously. Maybe not. I mean, you'd say that some people say that if there is still coal in the electricity based coal based electricity generation, and you are running an electric vehicle, but you are at some point you are emitting greenhouse gas, right?
yeah,
But it is not possible to, like, if you think that, okay, I will clean my power system first and then I will start to transform my transport sector, it will not work in that way. So all this transformation should start at the same time, because any kind of transition has its own barrier and it has its own challenges. So once those challenges will be over, maybe like in coming 10-15 years, we would march in a place then where our power system is also clean and the end-use sector is fully electrified. So there will be no greenhouse gas emission at any point on the whole energy system.
yes, sir. That's exactly the complete picture we should focus on, not the sectors. Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. You have actually pointed out so many things and plays them really well. For our viewers, it would be a great learning and great understanding of this thing. Thank you so much. And our team and us, we all are grateful to have you on board with us. And it was definitely a very good session with you. And we would love to
Thank you
have
so
you
much.
on board for the upcoming sessions or in the future interactions.
Sure.
Thank you
Sure.
so much.
Thank you so much.